Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope you're doing really well. Today it's time to review the newest Hermes fragrance that's been getting a good amount of hype, H24. This fragrance, of course, launching the first new men's line of fragrances from Hermes in 15 years. Now, that doesn't mean there haven't been other men's fragrances released in the last 15 years. There have been, but there hasn't been a new line launched in the last 15 years from men. In this video, I'm gonna show you guys the presentation, break this fragrance down, and let you know what I think about it. I also did a first impression of this fragrance in the past, so if you want, you can watch that and then watch this to see how my opinion changed. Lots to talk about, let's just jump into it. All right, first up, the presentation. And the presentation is a little bit divisive. Some people think that the bottle is not classy enough or high-end enough or unique enough to be the bottle of a new flagship fragrance line from Hermes. First up, the box. You got the name of the house, name of the fragrance, sizing, concentration, all right there on the front. It is really simple. It's just gray with this little green border on it. And the box is recycled cardboard, I believe. On the top, you got the name of the house, nothing on the sides. On the back, there are instructions on how to refill your bottle, because these Hermes bottles for H24 are refillable. And you've also got your ingredients right there on the bottom of the back. And on the bottom of the box itself, your badge code, your barcode. And your badge code here is 03869. And here is that bottle, that divisive H24 bottle. I actually like it. It's simple, yes, but I like the look of it. Pretty classy. You got the name of the fragrance right there up in the corner, H24. Not too much else going on there, as you can see. And then on the bottom of the bottle, you have a little information on each edge, which also looks nice. We've got Hermes on top of the cap. Does click into place. Cap is really lightweight, as you can hear right there. So you can pick this up by the cap if you wanted to. And I'll go ahead and waste a couple sprays for you. Atomizer is really good here, as you can see right there. The note breakdown on this is super simple. 4 notes: clary sage, narcissus, rosewood, sclarine. That's it, 4 notes. And if you go on Fragrantica, they add a metallic note as one of the notes, but that's really just more a descriptor of the fragrance than it is an official note. So, how does this one smell? When you first spray it on, really nice. Love the way it smells initially. It's green, it's got this sweet narcissus note that you can pick up right away. And in the very initial opening, it's actually pretty realistic as far as that floral note goes, that floral aspect. It's like this soft, kind of sweet, natural touch of florals. Like I can almost smell those petals. It's fantastic in the opening. All kinds of different contrasts when you first spray this one on. It's fuzzy. It does have a minerality to it. It has that metallic backbone kind of behind everything else, but then it has that green clary sage right away with the narcissus. It smells great. It's fresh. It's aromatic, it's modern, it's clean. At the same time, it has this slight kind of throwback influence to it. It smells different than pretty much any other designer fragrance out there. There's lots of contrast there, and this is all in the opening. I'm talking the first 10 to 15 minutes. After that first 10 to 15 minutes though, the narcissus pretty much fades away. That goes into the background and just, it's gone. And at that point in H24, the clary sage comes out more and more and more, makes itself more well-known. And the minerality in the fragrance kind of gives your nose a fuzzy feeling when you smell it. So you get this almost tingle on your nose hairs when you smell H24 after that first 10 to 15 minutes. And for me, when H24 settles into the mid, it's pretty much also settled into its dry down, because there's not really a big change from the mid into the dry down of the fragrance. There's a nice change between the opening and the mid. You've got all those contrasts like I talked about before happening in the opening, and then it does change into the mid, but once it settles in, that's pretty much it. Essentially, it's a fuzzy, minerally, green, herbal, fresh fragrance with a metallic backbone. That's what it is. That's what it is in the mid, that's what it is in the dry down. And while I did say that narcissus fades away after 15 minutes or so, through the mid you might occasionally pick up this little waft of a floral nuance, but that narcissus is not a major player after the opening for me. So when I very first tested this, I was a little bit let down. I didn't hate it, but I was a little bit let down because I was really expecting this to be awesome. And so the first time I smelled it, I was kind of thinking to myself, like, I'm gonna come around to it. I'm gonna come around to it and I'm gonna love it and it's gonna be awesome. And springtime's gonna roll around every year and I'm gonna go, oh, H24 time. That's really what I thought. I was like, man, I don't love it yet, but I bet I will, because this is Hermes. This is their new flagship line for men. It's gonna be awesome. This is the successor in some ways to Terre d'Hermes. Did I come around? I didn't, no. So this fragrance is being heralded by a lot of people as Hermes doing a modern fragrance the right way, while every other house is doing it the wrong way. Like Dior doing Dior Sauvage or Dior Homme 2020. No, that's wrong. They shouldn't have done that. Chanel doing Bleu de Chanel. No, that's not the way to do it. Hermes doing H24. Yes, this is how you do it. Modern aromatic fragrance right here. And I've got to say, I don't agree with that at all. This is Hermes doing a fragrance that's based around aroma chemicals, almost an overload of a particular aroma chemical, much the same way that Dior Sauvage is a fragrance overloaded with ambroxan, some people might say, or Dior Homme 2020 is overloaded with ISOE Super. Hermes is doing the same thing, they're just using a different aroma chemical. So this isn't like Hermes going, you know what? We are insanely artistic, whereas these other people are not. They're doing the same thing. They're just trying to find a different niche in that category. Instead of blatantly copying Dior Sauvage or Dior Homme 2020 or Bleu de Chanel or something like that, yes, they did something on their own way, which is cool, and I applaud that. But it's not like this is something they made with no intention of selling it. They absolutely did. What I'm trying to say here is that Hermes made this fragrance with an overload of aroma chemicals to give it a metallic, mineral kind of edge to it. Dior made Sauvage with an overload of aroma chemicals to give it a metallic, sweet edge. Both fragrances are very modern in the way that they're approached, the way that they're made. It's just one's Dior and one's Hermes. And some people will say, but wait, H24 is much more unique than Dior Sauvage or Bleu de Chanel. To which I would say, when Bleu de Chanel came out, it was really unique. There weren't other fragrances that smelled like Bleu de Chanel when that came out. Dior Sauvage, when that came out, there weren't other fragrances that smelled like Dior Sauvage. Some people might say, no, Sauvage smelled like Bleu de Chanel. Not really. If you spray those on side by side, they're pretty different. They're both blue fragrances, absolutely, 100,000%. They're both made to be used in the same places, same times, absolutely, 100%. The fragrances, though, don't smell the same. Nowadays, there are countless fragrances that smell like Bleu de Chanel or that smell like Dior Sauvage. But that's not the original fragrance's fault that they were so successful that they got knocked off and copied. So, hypothetically, if H24 took off and everybody loved it and they were buying this like crazy, you better believe there's gonna be some fragrances that come out and smell like H24. This is all to say that the vibe that I got from this fragrance in that first couple weeks that this was out was that everyone was just saying, it's Hermes, therefore I love it. Almost like people saying Jean-Claude Ellena built Hermes up. It had all these fantastic fragrances, these unique fragrances, these high quality fragrances. And so that reputation of Hermes carries over. And when H24 is released, everyone automatically goes, love it, before they even smelled it. I truly believe that if H24 was released by Dior in 2021 and had nothing to do with Hermes, that people would slam it and be like, oh, it's Dior being Dior. More aroma chemical bombs. Can't believe it. First they hit us with the Sauvage, then they get us with the Dior Homme 2020, now the D24. So, bit of a rant. You probably think I hate this. I don't. I don't hate it. It's just, I feel like if this were released by another house that didn't have the Hermes name, people would be approaching this a lot differently. Now I know I said I don't hate it, but I don't think it's great either. I just think it's okay. This is the type of fragrance that I would say is a 3 out of 5, 6 out of 10, something like that. It smells flat after the opening. I love the opening, love it. First 10, 15 minutes, love it. Lots going on. Once it settles into the mid, there's not a whole lot there. It's pretty simple smelling. There's not a whole lot of contrast going on. Not a lot of evolution going on either. It just kind of sits there on my skin, smells flat, smells like there's something missing. and doesn't really interest me all that much. And I know that some people are gonna go, oh, you just don't get it. No, I get it. I just don't think it's that good. It's supposed to be inspired by Hermes's men's ready-to-wear collections, as well as the steam coming off an iron as they press a new wool suit. And it does capture pretty well that kind of steamed metallic feel. That's really the main thing that you get here. That's the main backbone, especially after that opening. So it captures that, but it's still not that interesting. Maybe the first couple times you smell it, it will be, because you're gonna be like, ooh, this is pretty different. Definitely modern, and it's going for versatility. So it's trying to fill that same niche that blue fragrances would fill, you know, be used at the same time for the same thing at the same place. It's going for that, and it does smell different to those other designer fragrances that it'll be compared up against, but it's still not that interesting, at least after you've smelled it a few times. Because again, the opening is attention grabbing for me. And I could be wrong here with what I'm about to say, I could be very wrong, but I feel like in the future, this is not gonna sell that well. I think initially it is, because this is a big deal. A lot of people are gonna pick this up initially because, like I said at the beginning of the video, first new men's line in 15 years. That's a big deal. So it's gonna sell really well. Lots of people are gonna blind buy this one, a whole bunch. And people that are big fans of Hermes are going to buy it regardless of whether they like it or not. But after all that gets done, all those people buy it, I don't see it competing that well. This cannot hang with Terre d'Hermes. It can't. It's not that good. It's not on the same level. So that's my opinion. I don't think it's anywhere close to Terre d'Hermes. And if you put this up against the other big dogs as far as sales go, Bleu de Chanel, Sauvage, Y, Eau de Parfum, Dior Homme 2020, all those, it can't hang. This is going to appeal maybe more to some middle-aged guys, you know, 35 years and up, but teenagers for sure are not gonna want this. Guys in their 20s, I can't see them really wanting to smell like this either. So you're already kind of taking that whole big part of the market and just getting rid of it. A lot of people would say, good, that's what I want, but that's not good for sales. Now it is versatile though. You can wear this a lot of places, to the office, casually, formally. You can get a lot of use out of it, assuming that you do like the fragrance. It leans more daytime than nighttime use. And as far as performance goes, the longevity is about 6 to 7 hours off my skin, so not too bad. And then projection is more moderate, leaning a little bit actually toward the weak side of things. Now, when I did my first impression on this, I was expecting it to really pump out. First time I sprayed it on, you know, the opening was really strong, and through the mid, it seemed pretty good as well. But giving it more wearings, it actually sits a little bit closer to the skin than I originally thought it would. So, there are my thoughts on Hermes H24. I know a lot of people are not going to agree with me, but the more I've worn this actually, the less interested in it I am. The first few times I wore it, I liked it more. And each subsequent wearing, I've been like, it's okay. It is 100,000% Hermes trying to do their take on a modern aroma chemical based fragrance, you know, concentrating on one aroma chemical and building the fragrance off that. This is 100% what Hermes is doing. They're taking a page from Dior and Chanel and Versace and everybody else's playbook. They're just trying to do it in a little bit of a different way, more of a refined way, you could say, but ultimately for me, it falls flat. And while I love the bottle, love the atomizer, and love the opening, everything else about the fragrance, I just don't care about. For me, this one is not gonna make the top 5 releases of the year because it's already outside the top 5 and we're only in March. So there we go, Hermes H24. Is it terrible? No. Is it great? No, not for me. I know lots of other people out there do love it though, so if you're interested, absolutely check it out. All right guys, that's gonna do it for me. As always, thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for all your support. If you smelled that one, let me know what you think about it in the comments below, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another fragrance video. Stay safe out there.